Welcome back. The Graskop Gorge Lift Company is centrally located on the Panorama route, beautiful part of the country, and of course an ideal stopover. The award-winning South African tourism gem is now being replicated in other countries as well as part of an intra-African trade expansion project. Now, as we celebrate Africa Day, I'm joined by Oupa Pilane, who's the managing director at the Graskop Gorge Lift Company. Morning, Oupa. I appreciate your time for joining us this morning. Just tell us about the success of this, because I understand it was with negotiations from the Mpumalanga municipality, funders and private partners. It's clearly paid off. Tell me the story. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you would know that South Africa is endowed with natural beauty and scenic beauty around, especially in Mpumalanga, around the Panorama route. But however, we needed to take advantage of natural beauty because there's so much that you can actually extrapolate in terms of value from just natural settings. So we needed to be innovative to come up with an adventure center that will attract quite a number of tourists and bring value and also create jobs on that side. And that is how we then decided to come up with the lift project. So we have built a lift that takes you down 51 centimeters into the gorge, and we've put around zip lines, big swings, community markets, and we've seen a success of it. As of last year, we have attracted about 180,000 visitors. So now we are looking at expanding that, seeing that tourism has stabilized in the continent after our ordeal with COVID, and we are now looking at expanding in areas like Lesotho, in areas like Mozambique, and other areas in Africa.
I mean, if you look at what Africa Day is meant to mean as well, cohesion, integration, this is a perfect example of something like that as well. Talk to me about the African Union, if you will, SADC, from a tourism perspective, because I imagine they're key in helping you create this expansion. You need that support structure, don't you? How good are they in supporting a company like yours and tourism like yours?
Look, I think more than anything else, the most important thing is that we need to form part of associations, industry associations. It becomes much better to interact with the African Union. So currently what we are doing is that we're looking at establishing what we call the SADC Tourism Council within the whole context of the African Union, because we're feeling that SADC, the southern part of Africa, also has quite a huge potential in terms of tourism. But what is important and what we are trying to lobby through the SADC Business Council and also the African Union is the free movement of Africans. If you look at the number of international tourists that come into South Africa, they are largely from our African neighbors, and the same applies to those countries. You find that the majority of their tourists are South Africans, but we struggle with movement. The visas, it's just a challenge around that. So currently now what we are looking at is that for a success of projects like those, you need access and free movement of people. The skies need to be open because we've got to be able to be flying all over South Africa or all over Africa without having to travel to Europe. So these are the discussions that we are currently involved with between our SADC partners and also the African Union.
It's one of my favorite parts of the country is Graskop, the Panorama route, that part of the country. I was actually born up that side of the world. So next time I go back, when I say back home, I'm going to make a turn back where you are at Graskop Gorge Lift Company. I want to just, as I say goodbye to you, Oupa, just get a sense of your timeline. So everything seems to be in place. You've dropped the seeds of success, if you will, this Africa Day. If all falls into place for you, Mozambique, Lesotho, obviously you've got Graskop already. What's your timeline to expand this into those two countries? Because I'd love to talk to you again. What are your timelines looking like?
We are off to Lesotho next month. We're going to look at a beautiful site. They've already sent us the videos of that site. It's a stunning, stunning, stunning site. And we're hoping that through our interaction with the Basotho, we will then be able to reach agreements on the land use. And I think from there, we will, through our partnership with the National Empowerment Fund, we will then be able to have the necessary funding, because one of the other challenges that we have is funding. But we are pleased to say that we've got government institutions, DFIs here in South Africa, that are willing to also expand into our neighboring countries. So it takes us almost a year and a half for us to be able to establish from the date where we agree on the land rights, and then we can then start with our projects.
Oh, it's a wonderful Africa Day story. Thank you for taking some time to speak to me. If anyone is heading up that part of the country, it's beautiful any time of the year, that Panorama route. So that's the Graskop Gorge Lift Company. It's the managing director. It's Oupa Pilane joining us this morning. Please make a turn up there. They, of course, need your support, and we wish them all the best as they move into Lesotho and Mozambique as well.